Hi, Middle Age Gamers. Welcome back to a new Middle Age Gaming podcast. As you can see, we are a little bit different today because we're using something called Riverside, which is something I will talk about towards the end of today's podcast. We have lots of news going on. Armored Core video just dropped today, which Adam will react to. Or if you want one of us to react to, I'm willing to give that a go, right? I don't know how. I want to talk to Adam about Armored Core a bit later, but we'll see if we have time for that. So anyway, today let's get started with today's first story, which is Antoine's going to tell us about.
Absolutely. So the rest of your summer is going to be very busy, and believe it or not, Starfield is already coming up in less than a month and a half. It's an Xbox and PC exclusive. Remember, this is free if you have the Xbox Game Pass. And while I'm at it, there's a video specific on Starfield top 5 things that we already know of, which gonna come out sometime soon. No pressure, Adam. Sometime soon. And if you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see it. You will see it's very interesting. And commented by Adam Voice, which make it very suave and very nice. But what I wanted to talk to you today is that we saw in the past that same as a Skyrim, there will be mods, lots of mods. It's free for all. It's like a white card for modders. And I just wanted to give you a very mini tutorial on how to mod a game because you will need it for Starfield as you needed it for Skyrim. I don't know, maybe you never used the mod or maybe you're a younger generation and you are a bit scared of mod. Don't worry, very easy. You need two things. First of all, go and download Vortex Mod Manager. Second, go on a website, create an account on Nexus Mod. It's free. These are your two results. Nexus Mod is where you find all the mods made by modders. They post it there. And Vortex will be your hub everywhere where all your mods combine intermesh because there's a lot of compatibility issue, especially in the younger mods. Vortex take care of this for you, and it's very, very easy for you to see or guess which one make your game crash, right? So you can deactivate, re-enable. You can do lots of things on Vortex. It's quite easy, and even more after you have a couple of hours, tinkering with it. It's very easy. So you go on Nexus Mod, go and find. So I usually go by the most referenced mods, of course. And when you go download there, fantastic because you don't even have to bother about where do I download on which file and everything. You go there. If you already install Vortex, there's a Vortex download. You click on it, it downloads automatically on Vortex. You don't have to do anything. You download on Vortex, enable the mode, you're done. That's finished. Even better, if you have something which requires an additional thing in the library or things like this, the mod will tell you you want to download this. I'm taking Skyrim as an example, right? You want to download this, you need Magic Clip, you need this, you need that before you can download this one. So make sure you download these three, which are mandatory. You can also download these, which are optional. You don't have to, but it increases the value of your mod. And trust me, it's as fun as playing Skyrim when you start playing this mod. So if you want to, train yourself a bit before Starfield is out, you can do that on virtually any game which has a mod on. So recently, Street Fighter 6, you wouldn't believe that it's a game which you need a mod on, but you have mods of Street Fighter 6 on Nexus mods. You would have Cyberpunk, you would have all these kind of famous games. Go ahead, have fun with it, and so that when Starfield is out, you're ready to play with it. Of course, there's no mods on day one, so don't be crazy. But they will come soon because modders work crazy fast. So big up to them. You're making my gaming experience really worth it.
What do you think, Adam?
I mean, it's always good to have mods, right?
Right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
it
yes.
definitely sounds like from what Antoine has said, it's like the scene has changed such a long, like significantly. I remember having a mod manager, or maybe it was like the Nexus mod manager, maybe it wasn't Vortex, and it was such a pain even then.
Yes,
It was more organized to install mods, but it was still like, okay, I have to put this here, and it was not easy, but it sounds like a much easier system. And this might even encourage me to install Skyrim for the fourth time or the fifth time because I have still not played. Like I bought all the DLCs and I never played them. Um, This is back in the day when I thought I could actually have time for DLCs. So I mean, it sounds cool, and it might be something for me to give a shot.
Definitely, I really encourage you to it. But imagine Skyrim plus DLC plus mods, which add quest and content. I will lose you for a while.
I still only stuck to an hour a day, so you wouldn't lose me too much, unfortunately. Unless I become unemployed, where then I just grow a beard and become a brown Santa. All right.
You know how to
After
come
that, all right, Adam, what is your first story, which I thought was pretty cool?
Okay, so my first story is Final Fantasy 14. Sorry, the other MMO is doing their 10-year anniversary. So they've been around for 10 years now, and ever since the Realm Reborn have been quite successful. It didn't have an initial success, but the point is that because of this, they are celebrating with a new hairstyle design contest. So what you can do is you can go and submit a hairstyle design. You can, do the art for it, show them what you want it to look like. And if you're selected, then they will add your hairstyle to the game as a either something that you can buy from certain vendors or as a reward for certain dungeons or that sort of thing. And if you do win, you'll be winning, I believe it is a fat cat earring in game. Let me double check that. But let's see. Yeah, so winner prizes. Each winner should a fat cat earring. Yeah, so you'll get a fat cat earring in game. So yeah, all you need to do is if you want to submit, you have to have an active account. They have a template that they will provide, and then you can use the template to design your hairstyle. It consists of 3 images: from the front, from the side, and from the back. And you can also create a physical image on paper if you want, and then you can submit that. And then once you've done all that, then you just submit it to Square Enix, and it all goes through. So if you want to find out more information specifically, like where the formats are and all that, you can check out either the Square Enix website, or you can find their Twitter. They have a currently, I guess it's X now or whatever it is, that they've changed all that. But yeah, you can go to their Twitter feed, and they have all your information right there that you can just find everything you need.
What's a fat cat earring for non-Final Fantasy people?
So Fat Cat is this. It's kind of become a meme in the game. It's this cat that's incredibly fat, where it's just it's basically just like a body pillow with little stubby legs that come off of it. And they originally, I don't remember what it originally was, but people really liked it. So now it's a minion that you can get. So he'll follow you around. They have a sofa in the shape of Fat Cat. Now you have Fat Cat earrings. So it's earrings with the Fat Cat on it. Basically anything that you could possibly have in the game, they have a Fat Cat version of it. So it's just a little kind of not exactly a mascot, but it's kind of something like that. He's like an in-game meme.
Cool. And how long has this meme been going on for?
That's a very good question. I don't know. I'd have to look it up, the history of Fat Cat, to find out exactly how long he's been around.
I'm just curious.
Let's say years.
Yeah, he's been around for years for sure. Yeah.
And just to clarify, well, this is not you actually like changing your physical hairstyle in real life. This is just drawing something.
No, yeah, this is you create a design. I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could do that. But no, this is just you draw the design, you draw the front, what it looks like from the front, what it looks like from the side, what it looks like from the back. They have, like I said, they have a template. They've done the same thing with weapons in the past, where they say, hey, we're coming up with some new dungeons, we need some weapon designs, and they'll show you a template like, okay, this is the template for, say, a dragoon's spear, and these are the dimensions that you can make it, and so this is how long it has to be, and this is how wide it could possibly be. And people just kind of draw out what they some design ideas that they have. They pick the ones they like, and then they add those to the game. So yeah, so a lot of times now with the hairstyle, you can kind of go with whatever hairstyle you want. Sometimes they do have kind of more thematic things, like for instance, I think they did it with when Shadowbringers came out, and they one of the primals was Titania, who was a pixie. So it has like a lot of these flower motifs and whatnot, and so they were like, okay, here's a picture of the primal, here's a picture of the level, here's kind of the thematic ideas. you guys design some weapons that you feel would be appropriate to earn from this boss, and then people would just design whatever they want, and then they pick the ones they like, and then they add those as the prize pool. So yeah, they do this every now and then, but this time it's specifically for the 10-year anniversary.
What do you think, Antoine?
It's always nice to engage your community. I really feel that keeping the dialogue on is great. And I'm pretty sure that everybody who's not winning is going to be super jealous of the Fat Cat earring. And don't worry, in a couple of months, it's going to come out on the store. I'm pretty sure that's kind of
Some
I'm engaging,
variation of
and
it,
at
right?
the and at the same time, hey, I'm promoting my stuff.
They do this
So
thing.
no.
Yeah, they do this thing a lot where they release something as like a limited time kind of thing, and then they'll release it on the store later, but they'll release a different color variant of it,
Yeah.
so that people can still see who are the original people. You know, who has the original and who has the knockoff version. They do that quite often. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, Marvel Snap players, if you are new to the game, you need to pay attention to today's news on my segment. As you know, we had a new card released yesterday, which was Legion, of course, and Legion is the very famous X-Men mutant. Go ahead and check out the FX series if you haven't done that yet. That's available on Disney Plus. No, Disney Plus is not sponsoring this segment, though. If you wanted to, sure, why not? But beyond that, right? I know a bunch of you are looking for a new Patriot deck. So Patriot again is another guy. If you watch a lot of like comic shows and stuff, you might have seen him on Supergirl. Kind of, I think is the show. But anyway, so Patriot is one of the earliest, like most powerful cards you get in Marvel Snap. He gives +2 power to cards that don't have any abilities. So from the original Marvel Snap game, this would be Cyclops. This would be other characters. If you're watching the stream, Adam would have queued up a video at the moment, and you'd see me playing and losing to this Patriot deck because I just captured this video yesterday and I've never played it before. But it is like a really, really powerful deck. It is really easy to craft as well. So I would definitely give it a go if you'd like to. It's one of the earliest decks you can get because Patriot is one of the earliest cards you can get. And it's something definitely for everyone it'll give you that competitive ability. I mean, even as a free-to-play player, because don't forget in Marvel Snap, right, you can't buy cards. You have to rank up, and as you rank up, you get cards. And I guess that's why a lot of you are searching for this deck. Yeah. Any thoughts, comments, guys?
I've never played Marvel Snap, so I don't even know what to ask.
Same. Sorry.
No.
I like. Sorry, I just like the fact that you said it's a card game, where you don't buy your card like in a pack when we were kids. That's pretty cool. But how do you get the cards? And you say as you rank up, but is it like gacha, or is it a set card that you get when you rank up, or how does it work?
It's a set card that you get when you rank up. So I'm like 3,000 something right now. So as you rank up, you get some cards. So yeah, like the deck that I've talked about just like a few minutes ago was that people who usually hit like over level 1,000 and below like level 2,000, they'll get that card at some point, and then it's one of the decks you can say, oh, finally, right? I've seen all these other people playing with it, now I can play with it as well. Which is nice. And Adam and I talked about this sort of mechanic as well. It's like there's like a good side and a downside is that like the downside is that you're watching videos on YouTube and like, hey, oh my God, Crane just is playing a deck with this Iron Patriot, but oh my God, I can't get it. And there's no way for me to get it. So I have to watch it like kind of like the video and just realize, oh my God, I can't compete with that. So it's just a waiting game of playing and playing until you get that card. And then you're like, yay, now I get to play it. And then somebody else has another card, like, oh God, I have to wait. Like I'm still waiting for cards. Like there's a card, like Dr. Doom, of course, you guys know from Fantastic Four. Very, very cool card. He's a 5 health, 5 power card. He spawns 2 Dr. Doom bots. So actually he's, for 5 power, he's like 15 strength almost like. And he's such a cool card, but no, I'm not close to getting him. But lots of people have him, and I lose to him all the time, which is very cute. Cool. All right, we'll go back to Antoine for his second story.
Yeah, so my two remaining stories are both Diablo, but I'm gonna split them in part one and two. So first of all, the Diablo part one, which is about the complaints about season one. So as you know, recently there was Diablo 4 season one, season of the malignant. Is it how you say it in English? Malignant. Anyway, and this season, so as you know, Diablo 4, like Diablo 3, is a live service game. So you have the game, then you wait for seasons to enhance your play and play it for years and years and years and years. And this season one is has a lot of controversy as to how good it really is for a couple of reasons. First of all, people play the base game and put some little notes. Everybody, even me, would do. That'd be great if the editors could patch this or increase this ability, or all this kind of little tweaks that you would like to see in the game. And seasons are where you see the change in the builds, for instance. And instead, what happened is that monsters get stronger and the 5 classes got nerfed. And instead of bringing some amelioration, I would say, on the little swings they could do, on the contrary, there's less quality of life. Like to leave a dungeon, you have a cooldown now, like 3 or 5 seconds, which you didn't have before. It wasn't very well perceived. Or some, it's little things, but if you play druid, you have a werebear form, and for some reason they just change the color to some kind of reddish, yellowish, something like this. Just to know, right? I changed my computer and I have a lot of trouble to reinstall my Battle.net, so I haven't been able to play this season. So everything I'm telling you, unfortunately, that's just what I'm reading online. I'd love to tell you about it, but unfortunately, this is not first-hand news. Anyway, that's what it is. So lots of complaints at this stage. The other complaint is that uh, the season is supposed to bring something fresh, something new. Here, what we see is that, of course, there's new quests. They expand on the quest, so you have a fresh adventure. That's great, and you have a new gimmick, which is the malignant hearts, which is the core of this. But it's lacking in the fact that, well, that's basically it. You collect the hearts better and better. Tier world 2, 3, 4. You get better artifacts, and that's basically it. That's just farming gear, finishing the stories and farming. It doesn't bring really, apparently, a lot of change in the build. It doesn't really bring a lot of new mechanics. It sounded a bit empty, like nice, fresh, but I won't say not finished, just maybe rushed, because Diablo 4 is not an old game, right? And season 1 is already out. So I don't really know exactly what the issue there, but that's the echo I got, is that it's a good season. It's nice. It's always Diablo. You come back from work, you're stressed, you're annoyed. You go destroy monsters. Easy gameplay. That's that's how it is, right? Except that it's a bit more tedious now, of course, because your character is nerfed and character are monsters. So now, on top of having frustration outside, you have frustration in the world too, and that's what people are kind of a bit pissed as well. Anyway, that's what it is on Diablo 4 and season 1, which is why people start to say, oh my god, will Diablo 4 have a really long longevity if season 1 is already such a bad extension? It's not a bad expansion, just a bit empty and not really well balanced. And apparently there's a lot of bug on the 1.1, but that's something is gonna be ironed out with time. So unfortunately, just have a bit of patience, and we'll see what Blizzard do about this. But that's the main complaint that we had. So of course, if you have some concrete example of this, make sure to tell me in the comments, because I'm gonna go back to play Diablo 4 as soon as Bloody Battle.net works. I hate the new authentication piece. Anyway, I'm not gonna go on that because that's really annoying. They had the idea to put the app and the authentication in the same stuff. So the app is saying, "Go to authentication." That's in the app. How do I do that? That's my own frustration, but that's different from Diablo. That's just the Battle.net for me. Anyway, so that's how it is. That's just my first part of Diablo. I know you guys don't play Diablo. I would have loved to talk to Phil because I haven't talked to him since I left on holidays, and I'm sure he's still playing Diablo. So maybe he would have been able to tell more about this. But yeah, that's how it is. I don't know. Did you guys hear a bit about Diablo?
I haven't heard about this. Although I was kind of wondering if BattleNet is still going to be a thing moving forward now that they've been bought by Microsoft, or if they would just kind of integrate that into
Yes,
Xbox Live or whatever.
I believe they would do that because is it EA which is integrated into the Xbox?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
EA, yes. So you have the Xbox app, and inside the Xbox app you have the EA, whatever the name is. But yes,
EA
so
Direct.
EA Direct. Okay, so I believe it would be the same. You just get the Xbox app, and that would be either inside, but it's a story of integration, right? The Battle.net platform is already working great as it is. There's no bugs. It's old, but still, it works well with all the Blizzard game. You can play StarCraft, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, Diablo, and it works perfectly. They can integrate it to the Xbox app. They just need to be careful that it's done well, as usual, that they take their time and make sure that don't add. If it's not broken, why would you fix it? I mean, that's how it is. But yes, at some point, I'm sure that Microsoft will want one platform with everything onto it. Eventually, that's what's going to happen. Just I hope that they can do it. Take their time and not be rushed on this.
I mean, they did announce, right? Overwatch 2 is moving to Steam. I think that's going to be the first of everything. Right? It's like, look, Bethesda used to have their own app. I remember running Skyrim and some Bethesda games from their own app on the PC, and then that thing has gone away, right? Because why pay for the infrastructure, right? Why pay for all the servers to allow people to download the games and the bandwidth? And when that is part of the money, the 30% that Steam charges, let Steam pay the money, and we just focus on the game. So I think like Adam's point is going to happen sooner than later. I think they'll kill the Blizzard app because they don't need it anymore, right? Steam's going to take care of that.
Extra steps.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love everything. As
say
bad as
Steam, but
monopolies are, I would love everything to be on Steam.
Oh,
Yeah, but you say Steam, but we're talking about Xbox, right? Valve and Microsoft are different companies, as far as I'm aware.
For sure, but I mean, Microsoft knows that Steam is the place for PC games, right? It's not the Microsoft Live Store. It's not the
Not
Xbox
for long.
apps. No, I mean,
Hey.
there's a huge difference in the number of people on PC, Xbox, Game Pass, and Steam. Right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, but Steam is much older than the new version of the Game Pass, and I'm telling you, with the libraries they have, and it's gonna ramp up. I really feel they're gonna ramp up, and Valve has a serious competition. But you're right, Steam is not gonna go down anytime
No,
soon. Of course.
I would even argue that it's Microsoft's not going to put the money towards competing with Steam in that way. I mean, it's hard how do you compete with the world's largest online marketplace, right? With the exception of Tencent in China, right?
With the next Xbox Game Pass.
You buy more stuff, isn't that? I mean, that was the solution with the most recent thing. That was the whole point, right? It's like, how do you compete? Sony has the close to a monopoly or whatever that they said. How do you compete? Buy more stuff.
Right, but you need. It's fine to buy the stuff. You need the infrastructure,
Yeah.
right? Which is what Microsoft doesn't have on the back end, right?
But they're building like Azure and stuff like that. So I mean,
so Azure does well, right? But it's still a percentage of the cloud infrastructure compared to AWS, compared to Google Cloud. So it's still like it's a moneymaker for sure, but it's not. They're still not competing in cloud compared to everybody else. Yeah. But on the Diablo side, like to me, what Antoine mentioned is I never understood the seasonal stuff. Like Hearthstone just rolled this out, which I'm no longer playing Hearthstone anyway. But to me, it's like you finish a game. Who has time to play seasons? To me, it doesn't make sense as a middle-aged gamer. Even though I know Antoine is going to say Phil is probably playing that, and I know people who are playing. My friend Hans, who I talk about all the time, he's playing seasonal Diablo. But to me, it's like it's done. It's done. Like what enjoyment am I getting out of keeping playing this game? But I know Diablo 3 was pretty big, but it's still like you have this mass of players, 1 million, it's like 10 million people playing when the game comes out. and then it just drops to like the hardcore people, and I think the hardcore people are the only people who are playing Diablo seasonal.
Just
guess.
imagine if there's a game that you really, really like. You would like to have a DLC on it, right? Just to continue the experience? Oh,
No,
no, not
I
even
don't
that.
have time to play DLC
No,
anymore.
okay,
so-
fair enough.
I
Okay.
mean, I'd love to. You're right. Totally agree. But it's not feasible, right? Like I was talking to you guys. Like I'm depressed about all the games I want to play, but I can't because I am playing Valheim daily and I'm playing V Rising. That's it, right? The game Palia is coming out next week that I want to play, but no time to play that because 1 hour a day is the max I can.
Yes, but technically, if you had time, you would like to play DLC of a game you like. So Seasons is basically an online DLC. It's a DLC, but you can play with lots of people online. So it's kind of the same. It's just a way for them to make more money and extend.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something I could argue about because I know seasons are a thing, League of Legends, a bunch of other games, but we'll have to table that for a separate Antoine Korean spoiler discussion about seasonal gaming.
Yeah, it's just the bread and butter of live service.
Yes. All right, Adam, what about your second story?
All right, so for my second story, we are talking about how Tencent has recently acquired Techland, so they bought that up. And yeah,
Remind people who Techland is, though. For
Techland is the developer of games like Dying Light, and I believe they did the original Dead Island, if I remember correctly. Is that correct?
You're right.
Yeah, so they did the original Dead Island. They did Dying Light, and now they have been bought by Tencent. So Tencent is building up their repertoire. It's that whole thing what we just said, right? Money. If you can't compete, just buy everything. If you have the money to back yourself up. So yeah, that's basically all the news that I have. If you if you're into these kind of acquisitions, and maybe this is good news, but for me, and seeing how this seems to be the new trend, I'm not personally very thrilled with this. But and I mean, granted, I'm not the biggest fan of Tencent to begin with, but for obvious reasons. But yeah, so that's the news.
Tencent by zombies.
Tencent's
Yeah, no,
zombies.
we heard you, Korean.
How did you hear me?
Well, I guess you didn't mute.
Huh? Am I muted now?
No,
No.
obviously. How could he respond to you?
Son of a... Wait. Because I hit the mute button on my microphone. How am I not muted?
I don't know.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless
Yeah.
you.
Because it's using the wrong microphone. Oh, are you kidding me?
That's why there's an echo.
Yeah, I was. Oh no!
Oh, he's gone. Oh no!
He's gone. There, he's back.
No, he's back. He's back.
Now we can't hear him.
No, can't hear you now.
All right, sorry.
Now we can hear you. There we go.
All right. What I was going to say as well is I think that's interesting from Tencent because, China has this big magnifying glass over it in terms of acquisitions and stuff. They were making a big purchase in the UK for some sort of tech company earlier this year. UK government said no. I know they were trying to buy. There's that very famous studio who made what's that lady? The Crazy Lady game. Crazy Lady game is a bad description. The lady who was hearing voices, and they won the BAFTA award, and it was like a Norse game where.
Hellblade.
Yes. So they were trying to buy a Hellblade studio in the UK, and the UK government said no, you can't do that. So yeah, that's why this news is totally surprising to me, and I think it's a really cool story. Not to mention, like China was like paused a whole lot of gaming stuff this year, and then now they're like, okay, go ahead. Alibaba as well was in big trouble. Like no, you guys can't list, and now you can list, and they paid like a $3 billion fine. So I mean, it's interesting what's going on.
Interesting and scary.
Yes.
Yes. So it's. I mean, we'll see how it goes, and I mean, it's Epic Games as well. Epic Games is still receiving funding from Tencent. I don't know. I think different governments are going to clamp down on this, and we'll see. And again, like we know, like it's different to announce we're going to buy it. It's different to say, okay, the deal is actually closed. So we'll have to see if this actually closes.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people I've seen online are kind of talking about how it's going to be really hard moving forward because of the approval of the Microsoft acquisition of Blizzard. It's going to be really hard to stop things like this from happening in the future because that precedent has already been set. So it looks like this will be, if anything, accelerating in the future of kind of these buyouts and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. But again, I was listening to a podcast and they talked about the FTC lawsuit, and they just mentioned that it's just the FTC in the States didn't have a legal use of, what is that, a legal precedent to say this is why this deal should be stopped. This is why it's harming consumers. There was no solid evidence anyway. And I think in other deals, there could be a case to say, hey, like if Microsoft was to buy Valve, right? Like that would never pass because Valve is the dominant multiplayer, dominant PC game like platform in the world, right? And Microsoft would control it all, and it would be, you'd have to wait for a like Republican controlled FTC for that to happen, I would say. Okay. And let's move on to my story, which is probably my most exciting story, which is why, if you're watching this video on YouTube, I'm sitting up because I have waited for this kind of game for a very, very long time. As you know, I love these farming, relaxing games. And this is a game that I had originally thought about backing on Kickstarter, but it happened after I backed another farming game on Kickstarter. But anyway, if you are a multiplayer farming casual game enthusiast, if you like Disney's Dreamlight Valley, Palia is coming out next week on PC. The open beta is coming out. I did just see, though, this is only on the West Coast and in Europe. So unfortunately, Antoine is the only person who can play this in open beta, which kind of sucks. But it is coming out in PC soon. And the cool thing as well is if you were an alpha player, so if you were a Kickstarter person and you got into the alpha, your progress was just wiped. But from the open beta and closed beta, they will not be wiping any progress until the game gets released later this year, right? So it's supposed to come out December 2023, so in about 5 months' time. But basically, this is just like Animal Crossing. It's like Harvest Moon, Harvest Valley, Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon.
You guys know what I'm talking
Stardew
about.
Valley.
Stardew Valley. Son of a, thank you, Antoine.
Stardew Valley and
Pleasure.
Harvest Moon.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like if you wanted to play, so Stardew Valley you can play with your friends, but this is very much a 3-4 player experience. It's not going to be MMO, like massive multiplayer online game, right? And it's cool. Like there's no competition. There's no, hey, Antoine, I see you walking around with your cart of tomatoes. That tomatoes look sexy. I'm going to steal them from you. Sorry, that is not going to happen, right? It's I get to play with Adam and Antoine and Adam's wife Maggie, and we all get to be in this wonderful, fantastic, colorful universe together and help each other out and be all Care Bearish or My Little Pony-ish, however you want to describe that as, and happy and wonderful. And that's the kind of multiplayer game I have wanted. There have been games that have tried this that have just failed outright, right? But no, Palia is going to be the first one. There is a cool live stream that they did earlier this week that I wish I had time to do a reaction video to. It is a 1 hour and 15-minute video, though, but they introduced the character creator. They introduced some of the earlier quests. They introduced just the way the game looks. And it's nice, right? And it is free to play as well. So this is very much like Dreamlight Valley. But there is going to be a subscription like any MMO, which will give you advantages and starting currency and that sort of stuff. But the cool thing on PC is that it is going to have like it's going to look much better than Dreamlight Valley. So I'm excited. Anyway, I don't know, like I have time to play this anyway. But when the game comes out and hopefully, I don't know, magic happens and I have time to play 2 hours a day. But this is something I'm definitely going to play, even though I have like 3 Kickstarted farm games that are coming out this year. So I don't know how I'm going to fit all of those in, but we'll see.
How do you call that? Palia?
Palia is like the American way, though. There's like 2 French ladies who work on the team, and they say Palia.
Palia. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, free to play, Switch and PC. And I'm sure a bunch of other platforms as well. But I know the open beta, closed beta is coming to PC first next week.
You say it's free to play, but it also has subscription?
Yeah. Like Disney's Dreamlight Valley as well, which is like you pay like an amount of money per month, and you get X amount of in-game currency. You get like experience boost for like farming and skills and that sort of stuff. It's just like your typical stuff you might play in like Warframe as well, where you get like an XP booster as part of your monthly amount of money you pay. So
So
yeah.
it's not mandatory, right?
What do you mean it's not monetary?
I mean,
Mandatory.
it's
Oh, mandatory.
mandatory. Sorry.
No. Of course, just like any like Dreamlight Valley, right? You can
Okay,
go and
okay.
play this today.
I
You
haven't
get
played that,
access
so,
to
you know.
all the quests and stuff. It just means, like any sort of free to play game, is the pace at which you do things is much slower. That's all.
I don't know. I'll try that because I tried the Stardew Valley like not too long ago on Xbox Game Pass called
Sandrock, right? Oh,
Coral Island.
Coral. That's the thing I kickstarted.
How can you say it's not stressful? Like there's no timer, but it's always like run there, you have to do this. Attention, the seasons are passing and there's a festival at that time. You have to be ready. that's stressful. I'm sorry. That's not relaxing.
I find it relaxing for some reason. I feel like it's the only sort of like, if I can't accomplish stuff in real life, at least I can accomplish stuff in games. As sad as that sounds.
Okay, well, it's a why not for me, but you know.
If you do try the open beta, let me know. I'd be curious, like especially like now you have this wonderful new PC. I'd love if you capture some gameplay. I'd love to do some commentary about it as well.
Palea? Palea?
PALIA.
IA. Okay.
Yes.
Palea. Okay.
Yeah.
On
So,
Xbox
yeah,
Game Pass
next
or
week-
Steam.
It's free, so you can just go from the website and download like a standalone client.
Oh, straight on the website. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right, we're back to Antoine's third Diablo story.
All right. So I was a bit slightly negative on my first Diablo story. I'm gonna try to be a bit more positive here. Malignant Heart or Seasons of the Anyway, season 1 of Diablo. The whole heart of the season 1 is based on these hearts, right? Which are like gems you put in jewelry. And you have 4 grades, say, of hearts: vicious, brutal, devious, and the legendary one called wrathful. And apparently it's overpowered. Like wrathful heart, when you set it on your jewelry, it's really overpowered. But my understanding is that to start getting it, you need to have complete chapter 3. You need to be at least level 45, and it's quite bothersome and cumbersome to go there, right? But I learned that there's a hack for it, and a very easy one. The guy I watched the video for, he showed actually got 2 or 3 hearts in 20 minutes of gameplay. So here's the tips. All right, I'm gonna take my notes because, again, as I said, I can't play right now. Shit. But okay, see the dry steps. Take the dry steps. You have the hidden lookout, Gerondai, in the middle of these 2 points, right? You have a malignant tunnel called the Ravening Pit. If I recall, there's like 6 malignant tunnel, and this Ravening Pit is where you can farm the Wrathful Heart the best, because when you get inside the dungeon, there's a loop. There's a loop with 3 elites. So you go in there, you run very fast, no time, if you really want to be efficient, no time for fighting. You run, you find the boss monsters, the elites, and you see if the elite monsters which popped are wrathful. I didn't really understood because it seems that the guy, just by looking at the name of the monster, could see if they would drop wrathful hearts or lower grade. I didn't really understood how he saw that because I didn't see any cue on the gameplay, but he ran, he say, this one is not, this one is not. Maybe it's just in the name of the monsters. Anyway, if you know, just tell me. But he just run, look at it, and just right away tell me, no, that's a bust. Let himself die, because when you let yourself die, you rip up at the start of the dungeon, leave the dungeon, and then you can reset the dungeon. Go back inside, do the loop again, and at some point, one of the 3 elite monsters will drop a Restful Heart, and you will be overpowered straight from level 20 instead of waiting for level 45. So that's a pretty good stuff. Again, so if you don't know Diablo, but it says world tier, how strong the monsters are in the outside world, right? Level 1 is easy, level 4 is nightmarish. And of course, the higher the tier, the higher chance you get to get a better grade of item. The like colors, to grade an item. It's the same. Like at level um, world tier 2, you cannot have an exceptional grade because it's locked. You don't have access to that pool. At World Tier 4, you do have access to the whole pool. You don't necessarily have a great grade at first, but farm enough and you will. And that's the whole bread and butter of the season 1. So, going back to what I was saying, the whole thing is about collecting these Restful Hearts and get your character extremely strong due to this buff. And that's it. So if you want to, he named this video, collect 10 Restful Hearts in less than an hour. That's, and he was saying if you are low level, collect at World Tier 1 or 2, and then the stronger you get, you can redo again and again and again. He was just saying, be careful though, because in Season 1, version 1.1, there's lots of bugs and glitches, which include the fact that you can't reset dungeon, which is annoying if you want to do this loop. One tips, which is not a sure thing, but it works sometime, is just to go back to Kiovashad, which is the main capital city, and change your world tier from 2 to 3, 3 to 2, etc., etc. Just changing the world tier sometime fix that issue. And if it doesn't, log in, log out, restart your game. It's painful, yes, but that's what's happening with new release and new patch, and it's gonna get ironed out again, of course, but that's what it is. And he was just mentioning the fact that when you get inside this ravening pit, the quest will tell you there's 2 elite monsters. That's not true. That's 3. Just look around, and there's 3 of them. And that's it for the tip. So I really hope that it will help you creating your new character and ramp up quickly.
Sounds very useful. And thanks for naming the video so I know what to name the short when I make it.
We can put, I don't know if we can, but put the link in the comments or something.
Yeah, we totally can. Cool. All right. Adam, what is your second story?
Third story.
Third story.
Third story, yes. So my third story is that the ESRB wants to be watching you. They were doing kind of going full Big Brother here, which is a little bit creepy. So the ESRB has worked with the FTC and some subsidiaries of, I believe it is, Epic Games. And basically what they're doing is they're working on some sort of tech that what it would do is it would do facial recognition that would determine your age based on looking at your face. And so far it says that they can get it up to about, it says 99.9%, or no, it says, let's see, it's currently, it can estimate if you are an adult, 99.97% of the time. So basically what would happen is the SRB says, hey, you know what? We've always had this problem with, we have this rating system, but of course parents will buy games for their children, or, anybody can buy a game on Steam. There's no way to know if the person is actually that age or not. So what they are suggesting they can do is create it so that you have your camera on your computer, and if you want to play a game, the camera will take a look at your face, and the camera will say, are you older than 18? I say yes, and then it will allow you to play the game. And if it says, no, you know what, I don't think you're older than 18, I think you're too young, then it would not allow you to play the game. So yeah, this is sorry for all the doom and gloom and that and stuff, but yeah, to me this is just really creepy. That they could be watching you and being like, no, yeah, we don't trust your face, and just lock you out of a game. So yeah, I saw that and I was like, ooh, the world needs to know.
Anton, what do you think?
That's some invasive, really. I hate it. To be very concise, I really hate this kind of thing. It's not true. Why do you get inside people's? If the parents decide that they want to buy for the kid, who are you to say no? Yes, you have ratings. Yes, we can. We are not blind. We see your ratings. But if I decide that my 15 years old want to play a 16 years old game because his birthday is in 2 days or something or whatever, who are you to tell me no? And how would they do that with Asian who are eternally young? Seriously, or it's a money wasting, very bad publicity for them. I don't know. It's just it's invasive, and I hate invasive stuff. You don't tell me what I do with my kids. That's my kids. Well, yeah, so just back off. Plus, if it's just when you buy the game, just put my face, say I buy the game, and I just don't put a camera in front of my kid when he plays the game. So how do you know who plays the game? That's stupid. I'm not gonna put a camera just in front of me just so that you can see my face. Look, I'm playing. You see my face? No, that's completely that's stupid. That's no, you can't play. You can't play a game with if you don't have a camera to your face. No, 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 thank you. No, please tell me it's just an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, I don't know about. Yeah, I don't think it's a joke, but this is one of those things where I'm like, it would be really hard to implement because you do have to make sure that everybody has a camera, and you do have to make sure that everyone's camera is not covered and that sort of thing. So I don't foresee them. The way I see this is probably more of showing that we can do it and that the technology is there, and probably less about, hey, let's absolutely do this and make this a thing. That would be my guess. And yeah, I would find it really hard to implement this as a mandatory thing. I mean, you could maybe make it optional. I know, like, for example, if you have, like, say, a PlayStation or Xbox or Switch, they have parental controls, and you can say, like, okay, I want to set parental controls so, they can only play this many hours or that sort of thing. So I could see this as being an optional parental control. But at that point, it seems like a really odd thing because if you already have parental controls, then the parents can be like, this game is rated, 18 plus. I can just say you can't play this game. So, why do you need this functionality? I don't know. If I had to guess, it's less about actually using it for what they're saying they're using it for, and more about developing the technology for other things in the future would be my guess.
And if you want to know, I just set up. So as I said, I changed my computer and I put my old computer that I gave to my kids. So I set up a new users and everything, and the Xbox app is asking me, "What's the birth date of your kid? Do you allow me?" And it's really in the options. What kind of game can do you want to let him play at his age? It's like 12, 13, 14, 15. You choose. I choose as parent what age limit with the rating, and it's not gonna block him. They say it's gonna send an alert to me saying your kid want to play this game or want to buy this game. You parent, you decide. Microsoft already do that, and it's working well because I have an alert coming to me say he wants to play this. Oh, it's 17 years old. Battle of the Ponies. Okay, that's fine for me. Yeah, I mean, no, it's just a money wasting thing, right? So why wasting money in something which, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just don't.
I'm going to push back on both of you, and say that, like, I think we're moving into a system where we're going to copy Taiwan and Korea and Japan and China with the idea of real ID, right? And one of the ways of the real ID is with facial recognition, right? So real ID, for those of you who don't know, in a lot of Asian countries, if you want to play games or use certain online platforms, you have to provide your equivalent of an America social security number, and you have to register, right? Otherwise, you can't use that website, you can't play that game because the government or the online authorities or the whatever the hell you want to call it says, I need to know that you're a real person, you're not some troll or not some bot, that sort of stuff. And I think, and even going back to Adam's point of checking facial recognition, this is not new, right? It's for gaming, it's new. But if you're somebody who is participating in an IPO for a stock, or you're somebody who's participating in an ICO in certain countries, right? Um, there's a company called Fractal, and I had to go through this where I log into their website and they're like, okay, it takes a picture of me. Have to send them my passport and my ID, and it verifies, yes, you are created by the IG. This matches your passport, even though your passport picture is like 10 years old. And I think it's the only way to check certain things, and I think certain countries in the world are going in that direction where they're like, okay, we don't want kids playing games for underage. um, but to Antoine's point is that this is a parent's authority. It's his choice to decide what his kids can play, right? And I totally agree with that. But at the same time, I think there are certain facets in governments or ideologies that do want to control what you can do and play.
Yeah, one of the
What
other. Go ahead.
sorry. No, I was just thinking what the country of liberties would say about that. Hey, America.
Don't like it. No, but they did say there were other uses of similar technology. For example, I guess Facebook has something called Facebook Dating now, and they were doing similar things where they were saying if you try to create an account, it'll do facial recognition and it'll say like, oh, okay, you don't look like you're over 18. I'm not going to let you make an account, which is kind of a strange thing. I mean, I get it. You want to protect children. I'm kind of I don't know, why would a 16-year-old want to create an account on Facebook for dating? I don't know. Or I suppose somebody else could be using, could be trying to sign somebody else up, trying to do something weird like that. But
Stop your sentence halfway. Why would a 16-year-old would create an account on Facebook?
There you go. Okay, yeah, or that even, right? I could definitely see, like, for example, maybe if somebody's trying to create a fake account and they're using children's images to do that, and you obviously don't want people doing that for reasons. But yeah, it just seems kind of a strange, I don't know. In this particular case with the ESRB, it just seems like a really odd way to kind of control what people have access to.
Way to piece of the gamers once again.
All right. Let's move on to my third story. And my third story is actually just going to be about Riverside. So if you are watching the live stream, you might not know we are using a platform called Riverside. A lot of people use something called Square Spotcasts, but which is why if you stay tuned for later on in the week, you'll catch these awesome vertical videos featuring Adam, featuring Antoine, featuring myself, captured locally, right? So before, right, in shorts, you might have seen like a pixelated me or pixelated Antoine or pixelated Adam. But no, Riverside allows us to capture quality locally. So I'm getting Adam's locally captured footage. It's not compressed, sent through Zoom, which I hate, sent through Google Meets. I had to say that because I hate Zoom with a passion, a fiery, burning passion. Hate it. But anyway, yes. So if you're a middle-aged gamer, if you're a middle-aged gaming content creator, and let me remind you guys, right, in April 2023, YouTube hit 80 billion views, right? And that's a huge amount. It's 10 times more than any other platform in the world, right? So there's no better time than to get into content creation. Like, look at what Adam's doing, right? Adam is the star content creator of middle-aged gaming at the moment, right? And all his videos hit 1,000, 2,000 views. If Adam can do it, you can do it. There you go. But no, Riverside, it's a great platform. It's very affordable. We're paying $20 at the moment per month. With $20, we get enough time to cover our weekly podcast, plus a little bit extra if we need to. Riverside also has that option of, after this podcast, I get to say, hey, AI, listen to this video and make some clips for us. And that will save me a lot of time where I can capture me, Antoine, Adam together, and we can all make video, and then I can have that clip and I can splice in some video on top of that. So it's really convenient, really affordable. If you do have a gaming podcast, it doesn't have to be gaming. If you want to make a podcast, this is a great solution as a base to start off on. And you guys can let us know, like, do you think this looks good? Does it look good in terms of the shorts? Does it look good in terms of the live video as well? And I have to say, like, as well, as like Antoine looks freaking clear today. Adam looks a bit better, but I think his internet is struggling to deal with the processing. But we're going to try and fix that going forward. So I might go back to hosting after I can have Adam Lause to sort of explain to me how this works again because I have not hosted in a very, very long time. But yeah, this is it, Riverside. I know it's a good solution for podcasted videos, which is I know a lot of you guys are searching for on YouTube. So please let us know what you think. If you have questions about Riverside, you can always reach us at twitter.com/gamingaged or x.com, which is what it's going to be called at some point in the future. Threads as well. We're on Threads. Threads.com at Middle Age Gaming, Instagram Middle Age Gaming. Keep an eye out for the videos. I know you guys loved Adam's Final Fantasy short. Let us know as well, because I know long form doesn't apparently be the thing, but lots of you guys loved Adam's Final Fantasy short on Facebook. So if you do like it, if you want Adam to cut more of that into shorts, let us know. I'm sure that could be done. I could definitely do that myself, actually. And that's it for my third story, unless you guys have any questions.
No, not
Cool.
really.
Adam, so you have been sick. Are you still going to be streaming tomorrow?
I'm gonna try to.
Okay. And Nakara Blade Point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And how are you finding that, by the way? Because I did watch a little bit of your stream yesterday.
Strangely addictive. Yeah, it's odd. So it's very much like Apex. If you played Apex, a lot of it's going to seem very, very familiar. You can do trios, you can do duos, you can do solo, which is something you can't do in Apex. But they have a lot of game modes too. So you have your typical kind of battle royale, and then you also have they have kind of a campaign mode that you can kind of go through. They have various modes like where it's called something about a bell, but they have 5 capture points around the map, and you have to hold those capture points, and as you hold capture points, then your points go up. So they have that. They have kind of I guess they would call it a bloodbath. I think it's even called bloodbath, where you just go in and it's just maybe 15 minutes long or whatever, and you just kill as many people as you possibly can, and whoever can rack up the most points. So they do have a lot of game modes, which is really good. I was surprised by how much it is like Apex, because something like in, say, when I played Hunter's Arena Legends, then each character is their own thing. But here, your character if using Apex terms, you have your tactical and you have your ultimate. But then as you go through, you can find different weapons around the arena. So it's not like your one character is locked into one weapon. You can choose whichever weapons you want to have. Weapons have rarities, and the rarities, I don't think they do more damage at higher rarities, but the weapons themselves are more durable. So, what's going on here?
Ignore that.
Okay.
That is me only realizing I did not hit the record button until we're almost done.
Oh, ironic.
Ironic,
yeah. I've done that a million times back when we were using Zencaster as well. But yeah, so they have the different variety. They have a different, so if you want to use a great sword, you can use a great sword with any character. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. The one thing that I don't kind of like is there are a lot of currencies. It's one of these kind of online games that has like a million different currencies, and each one does something different. And because of that, it makes unlocking certain things kind of tedious, because it's like, okay, well, this one can only be unlocked with this, and this can only be unlocked with that, and that sort of thing. And the other thing I don't really like is that they, unlike Apex, in Apex you can get the Apex packs, and you can buy those if you want, but like every month or so they have every week or so they'll have different cosmetics that you can buy with the real world currency. And in this, they have some things that you can buy with real world currency, but other things can only be obtained with loot boxes. And that's one thing that I'm kind of like, oh, because I see like one thing and I'm like, oh, I really like that. I'd love to get that. But it can only be obtained via loot box. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to spend, $50 US just trying to, run loot box after loot box after loot box after loot box, just trying to get this one item. So I'm not a big fan of that, but it is an Asian game. So that is a very big part of how gaming is done here. So I understand their logic behind it. Not my favorite thing.
Cool. Anton, what about you? What are you testing out on your new PC first?
I'm just gonna test Starfield. I'm not doing well. Right now, I'm setting up my computer, and again, maybe I'm gonna do some Diablo 4 at some point. I'm doing Fuga too, which maybe I should review because I feel that Fuga 1 was better. They fell into the trap of replayability. When Fuga 2, you had to play it twice to complete the bad end first automatically, and then the good end, which was a very good way to flow the things. And overall, didn't take 20-25 hours to finish, which was a very sweet time to do the whole thing. And you finish and you feel happy. Here they put so many different things to put, like this one animation for each of the kids' deaths that you have to collect. So basically, if you want to 100% the game, you have to kill each one of the kids, which is picked at random by the can. You have to finish the game 3 or 4 times because there's different stories. Whether you finish with extra point of compassion or too much. Too much. It's a great game because it's used the same mechanics. They improved on it, and overall, it's a good game. But too much on the replayability content. I don't feel like this was needed. But that's how it is. And then that really depends on how well, as I was saying, we're doing a combined video with Adam. So depending on how long it takes Adam to actually do it, because I don't want to take much of his time. He's already very busy like this. But if it works well, then we can try. I'm gonna try to do more of this in this format, if that's okay with you. And we'll see. So it really depends on if you like it or not. Tell us in the comments.
Sounds good. And with that, and my unfortunate not hitting the record button, we will have to call today's podcast to a close. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I apologize for not having this recorded. So that means today's shorts will look a little bit weird. Maybe not too weird, actually, but we'll see. And stay tuned next week and let us know what you thought about today's live stream. And maybe judge us on the shorts maybe a week after next week, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks. And stay tuned next week for more news, more games, and more middle-aged gaming views.
Bye bye.